there is this Florida State story, which I wish I could tell you this was an April Fool's joke, but you hyenas just go for all the fresh meat. You guys go for you drink all the blood in the water, don't you? You do. Because last week, the absolute foolishness that was Thursday, Friday, and Saturday in the college football world, where you actually have people putting out stories that Florida State is going to go independent for the upcoming football season and that it's going to happen. Sources have told somebody none of us has ever heard of that Florida State is going independent and it's a done deal. And so now I got to deal with, because people have figured out that I don't really do much on Twitter. So now I got to deal with a bunch of DMs on my frickin' TikTok. Don't DM me on TikTok. Ask, hey, Monty. Listen, hey, Monty. Don't hey, Monty me, because I'm not playing the game. Listen to the words that are coming out of their mouths. Florida State is not going independent this season. It is an impossibility. And again, this is Monty's toolkit to less stupidity on the sports fandom. Ask yourself this question. What would it take for Florida State to go independent in football this coming season? Well, considering today is April 1st, May, June, July, August. We have 4 months. So in 4 months, they're going to go independent. When the Pac-12 couldn't get a suitable TV deal in 2 years. You're telling me that Florida State on their own is going to go independent. Who's going to televise their home games? And I'm asking for a friend, obviously. Who's going to televise their home games? Here's the other, just out of curiosity. Who's going to play them? Because, and I know this is rocket science, and I got laughed at when I asked the question. Talking to a source that has been rock solid for us, asking, hey, is there any chance that Florida State goes independent this year? Got laughed at. And you know what this person said to me? Who in the ACC is going to agree to play them after Florida State would have to have left the conference and cost all of its partners an ESPN TV deal likely? Who is going to help Florida State go independent this year? Has anybody thought about that? Oh, and then there is the contractual obligation they have to play their games that are on the schedule, which is already made for this season. And they're going to earn an inordinate amount of revenue in that conference. And they're just going to walk away from $50+ million and a chance at the college football playoff and a chance at at bowl games. And they're going to hurt themselves in recruiting. And they're going to screw themselves out of multiple significant relationships on the TV and the broadcast front to make less money, have almost no access to the college football playoff. You believe this. You think this is true because some guy on a YouTube channel, and apparently it started on a YouTube channel with 107 subscribers who's been around for 2 days. And everybody lost their mind over it. This is the stuff I don't understand. At least think through it before you hit me in the DMs on TikTok.
Monty,
on TikTok. That was the best part. On TikTok.
Via social media.
Hey, Monty. Listen, after I was done watching Oak State James review the best corn dogs at college football lacrosse stadiums, stop. There would be almost no scenario that would allow Florida State to go independent and be financially and competitively viable.
It just doesn't behoove them. That's the thing that was my biggest takeaway is like when you look at Florida State going independent, like yeah, sure. Did you accomplish getting out of the conference at that point? Well, yeah, of course, because at that point you'd be independent, but what? There's nothing after that. It's like, oh, cool, yeah, we're gonna go and do this thing, but how does that help us 5 years from now? And that's what I didn't understand about people jumping all over this. Like, There's no incentive. So you're not going to get paid. You're not really going to be on TV. You're not going to be competitive in the college football playoff landscape. So what really are you doing? That's the issue. And so I that's why I feel like you haven't really heard a ton out of Florida State's camp recently, the last 2 weeks, let's say, because there's not much to say. There's not much to do. You're sitting here basically on autopilot waiting for something to change in the situation. You're waiting for, the UNCs of the world, or, hell, I guess NC State now to decide whether they want to leave the conference or not. Like, you need something else to happen to allow you to even have this conversation reasonably. And that's why, again, I say, I just don't understand why everyone hops on this stuff right away. Like, yeah, sure. Does Florida State want to get out of the ACC? Yeah, I could have told you that. It's a well-known fact. It's not a secret anymore. They've tried. They've failed. So what are they left with? Yeah, well, I guess we'll play our schedule, make the money we're supposed to make, and move on with it. That's where things are at. So there's no way. Like, I honestly feel like people think that you can just say, all right, cool, let's just check this box, and now we're independent, and now we're out of the conference, and we just decided to do that. That's not how it works. It's so much deeper than that. And to your point, like, I don't know why you guys would, give credit to a channel like that, I guess, who's been around for 2 days. Like, what was the point of that? I
have no idea,
I don't
man.
know why people are. I guess I don't know why people are so hungry for something to happen with Florida State. What is it that we as fans of football, college football, want to happen with the ACC? I mean, are we saying we want the ACC to melt down? Because if the ACC melts down, I'm telling you, that's gonna have wide-ranging impacts.
Well, and I just continue to tell you, Florida State, Clemson, North Carolina, none of them are capable of acting on their own. And it's crazy to me that football fans and people that supposedly follow the sport on a daily basis don't understand that. Like, you cannot unilaterally decide to go independent. There is no way to thrive doing that. Like, what is the upside of that? What is the upside of that? Unless your name is Notre Dame and you've always been independent in football. Unless you are Notre Dame, what is the upside of being an independent? I think BYU is probably the best petri dish for this. We saw BYU for a decade struggle to find their seat at the table in a path to the college football playoff, the BCS, etc., which is why they were so thirsty to get into the Big 12, because it was their only road forward.
Facts.
It is just scheduling. Just scheduling is almost an impossibility in an era where you have all of these major conferences. Do you really think that the SEC is going to schedule Florida State? Why, if you're an SEC team and you're already playing 9 conference games and there's a likelihood that's going to bump to 10 at some point? Let me ask you, why would you schedule Florida State? If you are a Big 12 football team, why would you schedule Florida State? It does not help you in this era. As Florida State so poignantly displayed, it does not help you. At the end of the day, in December, when the decisions are made about who's going to the college football playoff, losing to Florida State in October and November does not help you.
Right.
So why would you schedule them?
Yeah, you wouldn't.
It just makes no sense. I am of the belief that you really have to just wait this out. And I've asked a lot of questions over the last few days. Where is Florida State versus the ACC? From what I'm told, they're just simply going through the court process now, and they have had substantial settlement talks, and they are further and further apart, which is why Clemson filed their court action, because I'm told that Florida State and the ACC, while they worked diligently to try and find a path forward, there is no path forward for those two parties. Florida State and the ACC were not able to find mutual separation. And I think it is just building momentum now And I do think the next 6 to 8 weeks is going to really determine the fate of the ACC, because I think what you're going to see is North Carolina now is singularly focused on their path forward. And you look at Duke and you look at NC State's a great story. I mean, both men's and women's basketball programs are in the Final Four. And I think you're just now on the clock waiting for this tournament to end. And I think there is significant movement behind the scenes. And I think that Bubba Cunningham is focused on doing what's best for North Carolina. I think Clemson, Florida State, I think they're all in that same boat. And I will go back to exactly what I've said for the last week, that Brett Yormark has aggressively worked behind the scenes to create lines of communication with significant targets. And again, I was told that Virginia is one of those targets, that Brett Yormark would love to add Duke and Virginia from the ACC. I don't believe that he has much interest in North Carolina State. I think he has significant interest in Louisville as well. And I think he'd like to pair them with Gonzaga.
Yeah, and I just think at what point do these ACC schools begin to accept the fact that their efforts to get out of the conference might as well be waves crashing up against the rocks, right? I mean, you're not going to break this grant of rights. That's not the way out of the conference. And at some point, someone has to accept that. And that's why I keep saying, you know, the ACC is not going to sit here and be like, yeah, sure, Florida State fam, you guys can just leave the conference and not pay us the exit fee or pay a smaller portion, or, you know, whatever Florida State is now asking for in the day-to-day conversations. You know, and that's been my biggest thing with Florida State. Do you understand that Florida State's not just asking to leave the conference, right? They're not just trying to leave the conference. They're trying to leave the conference in a way that allows them to both retain their TV rights and not pay the exit fee, which to me is you know, you're overcomplicating the situation. It's very clear what you agreed to. So the idea that the ACC gets blamed for like holding these schools back or like being a problem is crazy to me. These schools are the problem. The idea that Florida State and Clemson got together and said, yeah, the best way to do this is to sue the conference, you're out of your mind. Like the best way to do it is to go to conference leadership and say, hey, this is our situation and what we would like to create. How can we do that through ESPN, let's say, or how can we do it in a way where we don't have to have some huge public?
Yeah. And I think if you are, the right way to do this would be to get 10 teams in the conference together, put a call together with ESPN and find a way out of the conference. That's how you're going to get out of the ACC.
Yeah.
You're not going to do it as an individual actor. You're not going to do it by taking them to court and claiming how unfair things are, because you signed the agreement. And really now you're waiting to see what ESPN does with its option. Now you're waiting to see what the future may hold for your university, but you're going to have to find 9 other universities to go with you. I think that's the only way that this works. I think Notre Dame, somebody's going to have to get to Notre Dame, and Jack Swarbrick, who retired now essentially as the athletic director, has been a very influential figure in the political ecosystem of the ACC. And I think that it's going to be very interesting to see what Notre Dame does with their philosophy and what they do going forward. And I don't believe, and again, I know a lot of people in that business, I don't believe that Notre Dame has any desire to join a conference.
Right.
I don't. I think that Notre Dame has no reason to, and I know I say this all the time. I point out that when I look at Notre Dame, as it is explained to me, the only reason that Notre Dame would join a conference for football, A, I am told it would only be the Big Ten. B, they would have to have a financial reason. They do not. They are getting an incredible amount of money from the college football playoff. If they are in the top 14 teams ranked at the end of the season, they're guaranteed a spot. So not only are they making money, not only are they guaranteed a seat at the table in the college football playoff if they're one of the 14 best teams in the country, according to the AP, the coaches poll, and then the college football playoff,
right?
Which, why would you keep them out? You're going to work to get them in, because what does Notre Dame also have? a massive TV audience and a really lucrative TV deal. So they have access. They have significant revenue. They have everything that you need. They schedule really well. People want to play Notre Dame. USC worked vigorously to keep that series alive. Michigan and Notre Dame have talked about reviving their game. Like, Notre Dame has no reason to join a conference. So they have no reason to create turbulence in the ACC. None. Because the other thing you got to remember is, what else does Notre Dame want? A relationship with ESPN.
Yes.
They want a relationship with ESPN. They're going to continue to cultivate that, which is why they're in the ACC to begin with. A. B, they know that they have this scheduling alliance. And if you look at Notre Dame's schedule, look how deep it is in the ACC. And yet they still get their matchup with USC. They still get their, like, it works very well. It works very well. I don't see any reason for Notre Dame to be part of a group that is going to create turbulence in the ACC. I really don't.
No, and I think the only thing Notre Dame's got to avoid, I guess the only way that they could mess up their situation is by becoming a villain with ESPN. I mean, that's really the only way that Notre Dame could put themselves in a bad spot. So I agree. Why would Notre Dame get involved in any of this? And be a poster child for a conference meltdown. That's not what they're interested in. They're interested in continuing to keep their situation, because all their situation is doing is paying them and allowing them to be successful.
I just will continue to tell you, please stop with this. Please stop watching videos. Please stop, perpetuating bullshit across the interweb. Just stop doing it. Stop doing it on X. Again, a lot of people ask me, well, Monty, you never reply to me on Twitter. I don't reply to anybody on Twitter.
No.
Because Twitter's good for one thing. Push it out, have people watch. But I am not getting into debates with people who think they know everything. I am not getting into debate with people who are only there to be trolls and stir the pot. Yet here you are on X, buying into the trolls and stirring the pot on a story that is essentially fabricated. There's no path forward for Florida State to go independent. It would take, the only way that from what I gather, that they could go independent in 4 months, they would have to win a court case. They would have to get a massive financial settlement. And then they would have to buy games. That's the only way. I mean, we're talking about, you think it's expensive to get out of the ACC? Do you know how expensive it would be for Florida State to build a schedule in the next 4 months where they could play a full schedule of games? Do you know how much money that would take?
And the relationships you would burn through that process.
My God, it is just wild. And if you start looking at all of the other ramifications, recruiting alone, how much damage would that do to you as a football program to be independent out of nowhere? What are you going to say to all of the people who signed your letters of intent?
Oh yeah, hey fellas, enjoy the portal. Enjoy the portal.
Because that's what's going to happen. And I think when you start looking at Florida State, who was 13-1 last year, and you start understanding that it's Georgia Tech, Boston College, Memphis, Cal, SMU, Clemson, Duke, Miami, North Carolina, Notre Dame, Charleston, Southern, and Florida, they have a free pass to the college football playoff right now today. With that schedule, they're guaranteed that they are going to play, unless they just have a meltdown.
So again, I ask, why are you so hell-bent on doing this? Because I get it. You're not making as much money as the Big Ten. I get it. I understand it. The SEC is making more money than you. I get it. But it's not like you're indigent. It's not like you're, struggling to pay the bills, bro. The only bill you're struggling to pay on a continuing basis is your legal bill, because you want to continue to fight instead of appreciate the position you're in. And I'm going to keep saying this. At some point, schools like Florida State will have this come back to them. At some point, they will pay a price for this type of behavior. And I don't know when that's going to happen. It'll only happen when they need someone for something. Like, let's say they need the Big Ten to get, access back into the college football playoff, let's say, or the SEC, whichever it winds up being. But my point is you can't continue to behave this way and think that people aren't going to take notice and people aren't going to, treat you a different way. You're trying to blow up a conference.
100%.
That's a bad look, man.
And before we get to your comments, make sure you hit the like button, please. If you have not yet, give us a thumbs up. The other thing that I would say here is when you look at what, and and I hate to, what's the TV deal that still has not been announced for the Pac-12?
Yeah. Here we are.
Okay,
again.
so I ask, if you just look at what a possible TV deal could be, you're looking at like a Raycom deal. You're looking at like obviously the state, you're going to need somebody that is a regional, like, do you understand how you're not getting a national deal?
Yeah.
You don't have time to do that. So you're going to walk away from a schedule that is as easy as pretty much easy gets. You're guaranteed a spot in the college football playoff unless you're just terrible. It just, it makes no sense. It makes no sense to go from a national brand at Florida State, because whether you like Florida State or not, they are a national brand, a national power, to a regional television deal, which would shrink your ability to make money, shrink your ability to recruit, and shrink your access to the college football playoff.
Yeah.
There you have it. Welcome to the show, everybody. Everybody just tuning in. Don't forget, we're presented by The Advocates at theadvocates.com. And The Advocates are working with Murray Children's Pantry to provide meals for kids that are hungry. And again, every time we do something like school supplies, there is a belief that kids, hey, if you don't have a pen and paper, the school will give it to you. It's not the case. That is not the case. The only person at the school will give it to you is that classroom teacher. And that is in the lower levels. If you look at all of the kids in this country that are struggling to find their meals every day, they don't know where their next meal is coming from. They don't know if they're going to have dinner when they go home tonight. That is every day in every city and town and county and state in this country. There are kids who tonight do not know what or if they're going to have dinner. We can make a difference, and the Advocates are trying to do that. Advocates donations on Venmo. They are working with the Murray Children's Pantry to provide meals and things like canned food, things like nutrition at a very basic level, for kids who don't have food, who don't know what's for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. If you can give, please consider donating to the Advocates on Venmo. Advocates donations on Venmo. If you would like to donate to the show, we are happy to forward it on, but I would much rather have you really Venmo them and just put kids, food for the kids. Monty Food for the Kids. I would love it if you'd shout us out. Monty Food for the Kids. Great. But even if you don't, just put Food for the Kids and donate to Venmo, because that money goes right back to the community to feed kids who are hungry. Make it happen. Advocates donations on Venmo. Hello, Aaron Wilson.
Wow. Tortilla Land is back.
Tough.
Yeah, bro.
NCAA tournament in Lubbock. Really like if we get into, and I'm happy to open up all these conversations in the comments section. Again, I will tell you the NCAA tournament, it has little influence over who the best basketball conference in the country is.
Yet I still get DMs over the weekend. Hey, two holes. How is the Big 12 not the worst conference in the country now? How is it? How can you guys say they're the best basketball conference in the country? Well, I know, because again, the tournament is a one team special. The tournament is who's the best team in the country. And yes, you can look at numbers and you can say, hey, yeah, the Big 12, didn't have a great showing. And I don't even disagree with that. It wasn't a great year for the Big 12 in the tournament. I don't think anyone disputes that. But I also don't think that we can sit here and say that the Big 12 is somehow the worst conference in the country, or there's no way anyone could ever look at them as the best conference in the country on the basketball court. Yeah. I think that the only reason anyone's saying that the SEC had a nice year is because Alabama's making a run. Like, and you guys understand that they brought Nate Oates on, I think 3 seasons ago now. And yeah, he's finding his way. His recruiting's working. So they're in a cycle there at Alabama.
Guys in the draft.
Yeah, like, so you're in a good cycle on the basketball court, in Tuscaloosa. But that doesn't mean that the SEC all of a sudden is the best conference
about
in
Kentucky?
basketball. Yeah. Yeah.
Your blue blood is not a blue blood anymore. And you can't afford to fire John Calipari. So anyway, all of this to say, the ACC is a great basketball conference. The Big 12 is a great basketball conference. And as I've said for weeks, there is very little discernible difference in the quality between those two. I happen to shade that the Big 12 is a little better. Big 12 is a little deeper. What happened in the NCAA tournament does not change my mind on that at all. If UConn wins the NCAA tournament, and they're going to, are you telling me that the Big East is the best basketball conference in the country? It's not. They're not even in the conversation, friends. The NCAA tournament does not determine who the best conference in the country is. Aaron Wilson also said, I had a drive-by shooting 1 block from my house yesterday.
Okay. Way to keep it real.
As did we. A couple of weeks ago, there was a drive-by shooting. Guns are in this country, man. Guns are a big part of the news cycle every single day. And it is scary. It is, I'll be honest with you. We were at a mall the other night, which I'm going to get into later because holy cow.
Yeah.
We were at the mall the other night. And I was thinking to myself, walking down, saw Rudy Gay and his kids at the mall the other night. The former UConn Husky, Rudy Gay, at the mall with his kids here in Salt Lake City the other night. But I was thinking to myself, my wife goes to the bathroom. She goes to the bathroom, and I'm just kind of meandering down this hallway. And I'm thinking to myself, I wonder who here has a gun. Because we're pretty much in an open carry state, man. It's not hard to carry a gun here. And I'm just thinking to myself, who here has a gun? I don't know why it came to my mind. That's how pervasive it is, that I'm in big groups and I'm thinking to myself, who here has a gun?
Yeah.
Who has a gun? Where were you the shooter, Aaron Wilson? No, I don't own a gun. Okay. Tortillas? Yes. Man, we had bomb tacos. This was a Mexican food made at home weekend in Casa de Monte crib, and it was amazing. Terry Snyder. Hello, Terry. I'm a West Coast homer. If a football, basketball, or baseball team isn't from Washington, Oregon, or California, I could care less. So you could care less. I think you mean I could not. People make this mistake. I'm not even picking on you. People make this mistake all the time. I could not. It's not possible that I could care less. I could not care less.
Yeah.
I could care less. I won't watch. Regional telecasts are the best. I think the problem with regional telecasts at the college level is the money's not there.
Yeah.
That's the biggest problem. That's the biggest problem. RJC, man. ND will assess the money, and the Big Ten SEC don't have the stones to exclude. Well, why would you want to exclude the stones?
Yeah.
Well, why would you want Notre Dame to be excluded from the college football playoff? Well, let's see. Because Notre Dame makes you more money. So you're saying you want to make less money. Notre Dame brings a ton of people to the TV screen. So you want less people to watch. Why would you want Notre Dame excluded? And I'm all here for it. Why would you want Notre Dame excluded? Because this statement is the one that I think is an absolute epidemic in sports. We talk and we say don't have the stones to exclude Notre Dame. Why would you want to exclude Notre Dame? If they're one of the 14 best teams in the country, wouldn't you want them in the...
You would.
So if they're not one of the ranked in the top 14, wouldn't you have the stones then to exclude them? The system is set up so that Notre Dame as an independent has to be ranked in the top 14. They don't have, the typical AQ, the auto qualifier, because they don't get an automatic bye week unless, I would assume, they're one of the top 4 seeds in the college football playoff. if they're one of the top 4 seeds in the college football playoff, what does that mean? That they're a dominant football team. So you don't want a dominant football team in the college football playoff?
Apparently not.
That's the shit that I don't understand. That's like akin to, well, whoever wins the NCAA tournament is the best basketball team in the country. You understand? It's who's playing the best basketball. Now, this year, if UConn wins again, I have no doubt they're the best team in the country. I don't know how you beat them.
Yeah.
I think Dan Hurley is the next legend.
Yeah, he's got it unlocked.
I mean, the guy is just doing a phenomenal job. What a story he is. But if UConn wins, that's like saying, like this statement here, the Stones, that's like saying, well, if UConn wins, the Big East is the best. Well, Monty, NC State's in, the ACC is the best basketball conference. Or the Big 12 versus the ACC. Look at their records this year. It makes no sense.
Yeah.
Think through the shit before you say it. Like the Stones. That makes no sense. Or Aaron Wilson, hit the like button, people. Yes, hit the like button. I'm here, by the way, for an Amazon gift card today.
Yeah, I mean, we had Friday off, so we didn't get to do the donations and play the game. So, if you guys
I'm here for
performing today,
we're at let's see, we are at a total of 271 viewers right now across all platforms, which really is Twitter and YouTube. So I want to reward you if you're here now. If in the next 60 seconds, and let me get my little timer out.
Yeah, get the little timer out, Monty.
Let Uncle Monty get the little timer out. Okay. If in the next 60 seconds, y'all.
Hey, y'all.
Why can I not find my timer?
Yeah,
if
it's
in
the
the
little
next
clock emoji.
There it is. Okay. Ho, shut up. If in the next 60 seconds, we get to 65 likes.
So that's 25.
That's 25. I will give away a $65 Amazon gift card starting right now. Go. There it is right there.
Let's go. Hit the like button, man. This ain't difficult.
You've got to get 25 new likes.
You're off to a slow start. Let's go.
There's 10 right there. There's 10 likes right there. We're at 49 now.
Come on.
So hook it up. You've got 40 seconds
15
to get
likes.
15 likes.
Come on, baby.
15 likes. Steve Stepanek is back. My guy, how are you?
Let's go. Hit the like button.
Are you out of the hospital? Give us a health update. 53. You guys, we need 12. 12 in 25 seconds.
Come on, man. Body this thing like your DJ
12
Burns, baby.
in 25 seconds. All you got to... I'm not playing your game today. Oh my God, 7! You sons of bitches, 7! Hit the fucking like button.
Come on.
7. 4.
Dude.
4. Oh my God, 3, 2, 1. Oh, you didn't get it. You did not.
Empty. The opposite of full.
Bro, you're 2 likes short. How do you come up, dude? Dude, this wasn't even a big ask. There's 300 of you now watching or whatever it is. 270? Damn.
Now it gets to 70.
Yeah, whatever, bro.
You guys.
Whatever.
You know.
We'll try next hour.
You know. Mike Smith, Monty Show shaming the
come on,
the
dude.
like hyenas.
You guys are more willing. You guys are more willing to DM Monty like, hey Monty, did you see what the Florida State story was? Then you already hit the like button.
Steve Stepanek, I get out of the hospital today. Oh, good. They cut my little toe and some bones in my foot. Oh no.
Bro.
Dude, I hope you're okay.
I
hope you're okay, man. Cam Harrison, I hit the like button. Jimmy Otson, why would USC cancel a long-standing rivalry with Notre Dame? Sounds like Big 12 shit.
Wow.
Exactly right. Aaron Wilson says, hit the like button. Like. You know what, Aaron? DM Jake. We'll give you a $25 Amazon gift card. How about that? Aaron Wilson, we haven't seen you in some time. You gave away a membership today. I like giving away Amazon gift cards on the show. Everybody uses Amazon.
Yeah.
DM Jake will give you a $25 Amazon gift card. I really appreciate you, Aaron. Thanks for being here, dude. I've missed you. It is good to see you. I hope you are well. West Virginia Scott gives us a thumbs up. Monty, you're a Yankee. You have no business saying y'all.
Hey, y'all.
Okay. I mean, let's see. RJ Seaman, I thought this through, Monty. Use your frontal lobe, sir. You thought what through?
Yeah, what did you think through, bro?
I don't know. Chad Carter, let's go, peasants. Exactly right. Let's see. Jeremiah Champion, maybe the majority of the demographic is just too old to understand how to hit a like button.
Apparently, dude. I mean,
our major viewership is really 25 to 54, but 18 to 54 is our major viewership. And really, we trail off after 40 years old. So I don't think so. Ferris Khan, good morning to you.
okay.
Don't let me down,
Here
Ferris.
we go, dude.
USC can have new rivalries with Ohio State and Michigan. Michigan and Notre Dame don't play every year anymore. Time to move on. Focus, not the big. No, I think sources have told me for the better part of a year that Notre Dame and Michigan will rekindle their rivalry on an annual basis, that both universities are committed to trying to figure that out. I think some of the distractions that have happened at Michigan, I truly think Michigan thought they were going to keep Jim Harbaugh forever.
Sign stealer guy.
I think I don't know how that happened, but I think they believed that Jim Harbaugh was going to be their guy forever.
Yeah, he's the best salesman in the world, dude.
Yeah, apparently. OG Gary, good morning, my guy.
Dude.
What's up? Monty is a Yankee, bro. He's a Cub fan. Exactly.
Yeah.
Why bring it up, Gary?
Gary,
why?
As an NC State fan, do you like DJ Burns, or what's the situation?
Yeah, where are you
bro?
at, Gary? As a UConn fan, I gotta imagine that you are thrilled. What? I'm just asking. Look, I as an Alabama fan, Gary, I just think. As a Purdue fan, Zach Edey.
I don't give a piss about nothing but the Tide, baby.
Right?
Dude.
Oh, my God. Oak State James for $5. If Florida State is going independent, they're not. They're not going independent. Then I am converting, becoming Jewish, and now I am dating Natalie Portman. Did she go to Baylor too?
James? Bro,
did she,
you should have worked in hey, if they're going to go independent, they got to upgrade their facilities poll.
I'm just saying. Gary Wolf, anyone that can't figure out how to hit a like button must be a macaque. See, that's what I'm saying.
Bro.
That's what I'm saying.
Wow.
Like
macaque.
Yeah.
Macaque.
You monkeys. Mike Smith, I will be 54 next Monday. Let's go, Mike.
Well,
Mike, oh my God. How did I not bring this up yet? We were at Harmon's. Mrs. Monty and I were at Harmon's. And what song was playing?
Mountain Mama was not playing.
Yes, it was.
What?
West Virginia.
Because shit's going good.
Take me home. So what did I do? I got in the car, and I will even show Jake my iTunes. I can't play it because it's licensed music. Is it in my recently? Don't I have a playlist where it's like recently played? I actually played it, and Mrs. Monty and I were singing along to it. It's not in my playlist. I don't know why. Anyway, there's Green River right there. Where is Mountain Mama? Take me home, West Virginia. So, Mike, I was thinking about you yesterday.
Yeah.
I was singing along with John Denver in the grocery store. It was amazing. RJ Seaman, Yankees are 4-0. I love it. Hate Boone, though. Bittersweet. Well, Booney's. I don't think Booney's the issue. I think that they're going to have pitching issues. They're much like the Dodgers, though. You have a 3 runs or less, you had better use your bullpen effectively against the Yankees, because you need that. More Major League Baseball has become the quality start now is 5 innings.
Yeah.
That's a quality start. It used to be like when I covered the Giants, Bruce Bochy and I we share a huge cranium.
Right. You're using your frontal lobe here.
He actually frontal lobe.
Yeah.
He actually gave me one of his hats because him and I both share. I believe he's 8 1/4 is Bruce Bochy's hat size.
It's wild.
But it's almost impossible to get a baseball cap that's bigger than 8. Like, he actually cuts the seams in his hat.
Can you measure it?
It's amazing. Anyway, but he and I used to talk about this all the time with Tim Lincecum. 6 innings, 3 earned or less. That's a quality start. Anymore, it's 5 innings and you leave the game with the chance for your team to come back and win.
Right.
Quality start.
Yeah.
Right. So if you're going up against the Yankees or the Dodgers, dude, you had better have a 4-inning bullpen, because that's what Major League Baseball teams are building now, is 4-inning bullpens. And you better have a closer that can get you 4 or 5 outs.
Yeah.
Because guys like Josh Hader, now you're seeing it. The best closers in baseball, those guys can't just be 9th-inning guys anymore, because offenses are too good. They're too good, period. It is what it is. But hey, Dakota Tubbs, good morning, my guy. Good to see you. Jim Harbaugh has the record for most vacuum cleaner subscriptions sold at the University of Michigan.
Vacuums are my thing.
Yeah, I've heard that. You know, the eclipse is on my birthday. I think it's a sign about my life.
Wow.
Yeah, that you're bright and you're glowing, and when people look at you, their eyes burn out of their head.
That's bullshit.
That's what it sounds like. Monty, you can't carry a tune. Please don't do that again. I'll keep that in mind. I'll try to keep your feelings. Actually, Florida State is renovating. I don't. Almost made it an entire hour without James telling me that there's a stadium being renovated somewhere in the country.
Monty.
OG Gary is a Waxahachie State fan. I am thrilled that my Boilermakers are going to roll tide on the Huskies. Go Tar Heels. Exactly right. Jeremiah Champion, my students have state competition this Saturday. Anybody willing to wish them luck? Very small school. Any support is great. What's the competition? What's the competition? Tell us about it. Tell us. There was a debate about, is chess popular in our members only group? I love chess.
Yeah.
I'm a huge chess fan. You know, Boss Frog for $50 this morning. Hello, my Porsche brethren.
What's up, bro?
Hey, Monty, hypothetical. Florida State and Clemson exit the ACC. Would the Ponies consider renegotiating the $200 million entry fee, since the exiting blue chip football programs have devalued the conference? I'll hang up and listen. This is an interesting question, though. What if Clemson and Florida State win? And I don't think they're trying to win in court, just for the record. I think they're trying to negotiate a settlement, and they went to court to try and move Bubba Cunningham in North Carolina. That's my opinion. I've heard different, hypotheses about this, and I think that's why they went to court. But, I mean, renegotiating their $200 million entry fee.
I thought you said $200 million.
Like, do you understand the money that SMU's not going to make?
That's an insane amount.
And now they're not even getting the pro rata they deserve, because the College Football Playoff Committee won't pay it.
Yeah, and I'm really surprised that they didn't consider that when they made this move. Like, everyone just assumed they'd be auto eligible, and that's not how it works.
I am not certain what it will take for change in the ACC. What would it take? I can't even think.
It would take a total restructuring of college football in the bigger picture, because I'm telling you, that grant of rights is lock solid, dude. Bolt locked, like double padlock.
Why would ESPN not pick up their option? Well, if 10 teams left the conference.
Yeah.
That's what we're talking about. Like, you're talking about negotiated leverage.
Yeah.
You've got to find a group of teams in that conference. And again, I have a hard time believing that Stanford, Cal, and SMU are going to move to, I don't know. You're going to have to get North Carolina, which I think where are the power centers in the ACC? Well, it's Tobacco Road.
Right.
I continue to tell you that. People don't believe me, but it's North Carolina and Duke and Clemson and Florida State and who else? That's what the question is.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody, again, comment section, if you go back and look at our comments on our ACC videos, well, Monty, North Carolina and NC State are tied at the hip. They're not. I believe that Virginia is very influential, and I think that Virginia is very valuable as a brand.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Virginia is interesting. I think Louisville's interesting.
I think there's a certain reliability with Virginia and UNC and like some of these schools in the ACC that you don't necessarily have. Like, this NC State run is nice and everything, but nobody's going to sit here and be like, yeah, they're an every year, Final Four threat. Like nobody's saying that. And I think that when you look at the schools in the ACC, there's definitely a delineation of power, if you will. You have your top cut of schools like UNC and Duke and Clemson.
Yeah.
And I hate saying this about Clemson because I don't believe that Dabo's even trying to win at this point. But Clemson's there, and
Your
Florida
guy.
State's there, and I think it's those schools that are, and Virginia's there for sure. Those schools are controlling the conversation. Now, if you look at it from the standpoint of commitment to leave the conference, yeah, I don't think that UNC is committed to leaving the conference. I think that Clemson's not necessarily even committed to leaving the conference. I think Clemson just thought, hey, let's see what happens if we do this. Let's see what kind of leverage we could potentially conjure up through this, and that's why they're doing it. Florida State, to me, is the only one that is actually like committed, die on the hill, ready to leave the conference. That's the only one, and that's their problem. You can't leave this conference by being alone, and somehow, some way, they're going to learn that lesson, and clearly, it's going to be the hard way. And again, it's the same logic that said SMU would be a college football playoff eligible team if they joined a Power Five. That same logic says, oh yeah, we'll be able to leave on our own, right? We'll go independent in the 24-25 season. That's just not how this stuff works, man. So yeah, if two schools leave, I think nobody has any idea what's going to happen, because for that to take place, you, in my opinion, would need a complete restructuring of an entire system.
I would agree with that. I would 100% agree with that. I think that, yeah. Oh, that's not what I wanted. Did you guys see this story that Florida Atlantic just tweeted out? That Florida Atlantic is going to play a football game on an aircraft carrier. Look at this tweet from Florida Atlantic. Where better to host this year's Battle of the Coasts than off the coast of the Atlantic? The game versus South Florida will be played in the Atlantic Ocean aboard an aircraft carrier, a first in college football history.
That's cool.
Wow, that's cool. Thank you, Billy, for sending that to me. That's super cool. I hope nobody falls in the ocean.
That's got some ACC vibes on it.
That's got some basketball vibes on it, which I think was super cool. All right, hour number 2 of the Monty Show, as always, presented by our good friends at Prize Picks. PrizePicks.com. Chaboy went 1 of 3 over the weekend. Got shellacked on Friday. Now, I have told you guys repeatedly that I rarely go 0 for. Wednesday, 0 for 5. Thursday, win. Friday, 0 for 3 in my Prize Picks, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then Saturday, I had just had enough of the bullshit. So after the loss on Friday with Bryce Harper, Spencer Strider, and Aaron Judge, I went full commit and decided that Zach Edey was my guy. I put a hundo on Zach Edey.
You put a hundo? A Benji?
I put a Benji on Zach Edey. He came through, and let me get the final number so I don't get this wrong, because people are on it. Somebody told me the other day that Aaron Judge cashed when he didn't, because you can't count. I can't. I'm not the one who's got to count, dude. Prize Picks does. And trust me when I say they didn't get it wrong.
Hey, by the way, if we're counting, we're gonna win every time. Just pointing that out, bud.
So my guy Zach Edey yesterday, his number was 38.5.
For points?
Points, rebounds, and assists.
Okay.
He did that on points alone. He put up a 57 yesterday. Cashed on that. And then anybody see old man LeBron last night?
Dude.
LeBron James last night was 34.5. Look at my guy LeBron last night. 40 points, 7 rebounds.
I'm for real.
5 dimes. 2 for 2. And then I made the ultimate, really the ultimate mistake that actually
You did not.
that actually worked out. It actually worked out with my guy Keontae.
Key.
17.5 points. What did my guy come through with?
18.
on a demon.
Buddy had 18 on a demon. So so let me get this right. You put a Benji on Edie, Key, and LeBron.
100 to win 225.
Damn.
I'm telling you, Prize Picks, the NCAA tournament, and today's Prize Picks with baseball. Now, I was looking at the Major League Baseball schedule this morning while I was laying in bed at 4:05, wide awake. The schedule today is slightly appetizing only because Shota Imagana is pitching for the Cubs.
Now, does he have an interpreter or what's the situation?
He speaks Shohei.
Okay, got it.
I love that game. And then the other thing is the New York Yankees, baby, are going up against Ryan Nelson, who was 8-8 with a 5.31 last season.
Yeah.
So there is some prize picking to be had. And the other thing here that you got to point out is that the San Francisco Gigantes are starting Keaton Wynn.
Keaton.
They're starting. I don't know. They're starting Keaton Wynn against the Dodgers at Dodger Stadium.
Okay, here's what I got. Here's what I got for today.
I don't. Nobody cares.
So I got Bellinger for more than 7.5 fantasy score. Michael A. Taylor to have 1 base, and Ohtani to have more than 8.5 hitter fantasy score.
I don't like hitter fantasy score in any way, shape, or form.
Wow.
I'm not. But I think you also got to go. Anybody look at good old Katie Clark?
Katie Clark.
Anybody see my girl, Katie
girl.
Clark? Hey. Anybody see my girl, Katie Clark? Because I think this is an interesting one tonight. Women's college basketball. Caitlin Clark, 32.5 points.
You got to go under, don't you?
Angel Reese is 18.5 points versus Iowa tonight. I think you got to go under on Caitlin Clark.
Yeah.
I think there's no question. But Paige Buchers is 26.5.
I gotta go more on that.
Against USC, I think you got to go more.
Yeah, I gotta.
Prize Picks is amazing. Download the Prize Picks app. Use the promo code Monty to get 100% deposit matching at prizepicks.com. You put in 100, they'll give you 100 more. You put in $5, they'll give you 5 more. 10, 10, 20, 20. You name it. You can play for a lifetime on $20 at prizepicks.com. I have had so much fun with it. I've had as much fun as one is allowed to have on Prize Picks. Matt Ritson says LSU women's basketball coach ripped the LA media. She's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I don't even want to. Did you guys see the floor issue that they had in Portland last night?
This is wild.
And if somebody wants to help me explain this, this weekend at the Moda Center, how do you get this so wrong? The picture on the left, you can see how short the 3-point line is. The picture on the right is regulation. The picture on the right and the picture on the left are the exact same court. One end of the court, the 3-point line was laid down incorrectly, was misapplied. And it was half a foot short by some estimations. And they said we can delay the game for 2 hours to retape it, or we can play through it. So they decided to play through it. And they shot a higher percentage on the end with the correct 3-point line. They only shot 29% on the short one, 33% on the long one. But I bring this up because here's my question. Would this have ever happened in a men's game?
No, absolutely not. There's just no way.
This is the World Cup being played on crappy fields. It's all of the things that we always see.
Well, and I almost want to say it's worse than that because this is not just like, this is not quality of the field. This is just straight up, it's done wrong. Like, you just straight up, it would be like a football field being, 70 yards on one end and 50 on the other. right? I mean, that's what you're talking about here. You're talking about a kicker in football having to, from the 40 kick a 70-yard field goal. I mean, that's
I'm amazed by it.
What you're looking at here. And I know people are going to say, oh, well, 2 holes, it's only half a foot. What's the big deal? The big deal is you practiced all season and played all season on one 3-point line. And now in one of the biggest games of your life, you're shooting on another one. That's the big deal. It's not the fact that they can't make the shot or that there's any issues shot making. It's the premise of it, man. This would have never happened in a men's game. This didn't happen for big boy Burns and NC State. This didn't happen to Edie. This didn't happen to UConn, right? But it did happen to these two. It did happen for several other teams who played on that floor, which is my other point about the whole situation. You had, I think it was 2 other games that were played on that floor in that setup before anybody realized what was happening here or the discrepancy between the two. To which I say, we're not taking these games seriously enough on the women's side. And women's basketball is growing. It's in a great spot. It's continuing to get better. It's continuing to get more popular, continuing to garner more revenue. And I think that's great.
Yeah.
But the disrespect that this is right here, I
wild.
feel like is not being talked about enough.
It is wild to me. It is wild to me. Rock and Rant, LSU's women coach, basketball coach, is a clown. She is just a detestable person. She drives me crazy. Mike Smith, SMU should not have to pay the fee due to them carrying the Dallas TV market.
Well, obviously.
I mean, Tarrant County, boy.
Yeah.
I'm kidding. Dallas and Monty. Dallas is in Dallas County, you fraud. I know. Chrissy, I heard that ESPN is not going to extend the ACC contract to 2036. Why would they? The decision will be made for them. They have, they will do what they need. What did she do, Rock and Ran? I seen a blur, but did not. Okay, so the LSU coach had a story written about her that was not flattering. She is very, very Aaron Rodgers. Everybody hates her. Her family hates her. She hates her family. She hates herself. She treats gay and lesbian players differently. Blah, 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 blah. Go find it. And then she ripped the LA Times last night because they were not flatterers of her. It's crazy to me. RJ Seaman, Bubba has zero power to move at UNC. Oh, really? They have changed rules, needs president and board of trustees to leave the ACC.
Dude, you're so thick-skulled, bro. Like, I legit don't think we can help you, dude. Honestly.
I'm not even going to justify that with a comment.
Next comment, dude.
So I am a color guard instructor, flag squad. Yes, I was in the color guard at Rocky Ford High School in Colorado. You guys don't win much in Colorado. This is our first time ever competing, and we are going into state seed 5th out of 10.
Nice.
My guy, good luck. Good luck. That's awesome. Gary Wolf, there's something wrong with your medulla oblongata. I know.
Oh, okay. Got it. So you called him in fancy terms. You're trying to call him stupid.
Yeah,
I get it.
I believe that's the case.
I get it.
Chrissy, the ACC network is worth anything. Network is worth anything anymore to ESPN after Clemson and FSU leave, but they
can't leave, guy. Like, how difficult is this to understand? They're not going anywhere. Like, they can't.
I would be shocked if either of them moved singularly by themselves. You're going to need to, in order to get out of the grant of rights, my opinion, based on what I've been told, is that they would need a group of 10 universities to get out of the ACC.
You need someone else's help. You're not getting that help.
And it's a lot of help that you're going to need. I don't see any way that you could even do this on your own.
I feel like we are celebrating the fact that these two want to leave. We're like, oh yeah, man, wow, dude, the ACC sucks and they're terrible, and Clemson and FSU are victims, and they had a gun to their head when they signed that contract not once but twice. No, they didn't.
Yeah.
They agreed to it when it was convenient for them, and now they don't want to be held accountable to what they agreed to. And they don't want to be held accountable because it's not convenient for them anymore.
Yeah,
so whose fault is that?
I don't know how you spin this. I truly do not. But it's remarkable to me that we're in a place where I mean, you guys have to understand that Florida State and Clemson, as valuable as they are as brands individually, they have very little pull and sway in the ACC to do anything on their own.
Yeah.
Which is why I think they're trying to move people. And to the comment about, well, this guy and that. If you think that North Carolina doesn't listen to Bubba Cunningham, and if you think that, look at the Arizona State example. Like, we've been over this ground.
Yeah.
Sorry about my grammar mistakes, Jeremiah Champion said.
Yeah, be better, dude.
You're a flag instructor.
Yeah.
I expect perfect grammar. Running around trying to get ready for the day at the same time I'm trying to type. That's so
do you see the level of commitment right here out of Jeremiah? He's literally trying to get his team ready, and he's still got the program on.
I agree with that. It's fine. It's fine. Sup, Salty, LOL. Is Salty here today? Good to see you, Salty.
Is it his actual account or his burner?
It's probably a burner. I would have to. I don't know why I don't believe he's blocked. I don't believe he's blocked. This Florida State situation is insane. Yes, it is. Yes, absolutely it is. Stop. John DeLon, I am not. Oh no, a comment dump. Where did it go? John DeLon's trying to argue flipping, waffles versus pancakes. Like, what are we doing? What are we doing?
Yeah.
James, in theory, if UNC, Clemson, Miami, Notre Dame, and Virginia Tech and 5 others voted to break away and reform the ACC with just 10 teams, why would they want to reform? When your whole point is not to start a new conference, your whole point is to go get paid.
Yeah.
You're not going to start a new conference, but okay. Each team would get more money. That makes sense. But FSU wants the Big Ten. They wouldn't get more money. Because where does money come from in college athletics? TV and the college football playoff. So I don't know. Big Blue Horses. When I see FSU going Indy, yeah, it's April 1st. It's one of the. Dude, it's not even April 1st on our show. Like, this has been going on since last week. So the wind is going to screw up passing bad. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,